What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American, here today to react and learn about Canadian Heritage Minutes, which are these 1 minute long videos that teach you about important moments and people throughout all of Canadian history. And today, I am continuing my journey watching all of the Heritage Minutes. I've currently seen 57 out of the 100 Heritage Minutes. So I'm very excited to see what we have in store today, starting with Vimy Ridge. Major General Arthur Currie discusses the plan of attack on Vimy Ridge with General Julian Byng. Plan of attack on Vimy Ridge. What is Vimy Ridge? It sounds like the name of a place. And we're talking about Canadians attacking Vimy Ridge? Or are they defending Vimy Ridge? I'm not exactly. Maybe we can get some more information on this. Battle of Vimy Ridge. The Battle of Vimy Ridge was fought during the First World War. That makes sense. I figured this must be in times of war for Canada. It is Canada's most celebrated military victory. Isn't that amazing? Apparently, I am reading here, this is a super big, super significant part of Canadian military history. Biggest, most celebrated victory. And yet, as an American, I've never heard of it. It's just mind-boggling to me what we learn and what we don't learn in our American history classes, I guess. But anyway, this is Canada's most celebrated victory, often mythologized, symbol of the birth of Canadian national pride and awareness. Wow, this was a really big deal. Like, not just like for the historical importance of like winning this battle as far as warfare is concerned, but like this was a big deal for Canada's culture and developing national pride in Canada. Like it's even bigger than just winning a battle. It was big for like, I don't know, the Canadian people and how proud they felt. It's hard to even overstate how important something like that can be. The battle took place on the Western Front in northern France. Northern France. What was going on in northern France? I don't know my World War I history that well, in general. You'll have to forgive me. 4 divisions of the Canadian Corps fighting together attacked the ridge and captured it from the German army. So Canadians, 4 divisions of Canadian soldiers, were sieging a place called Vimy Ridge in France from the Germans. Got it. That is exactly the background information I was hoping for. Well, let's take a look at the Heritage Minute, which I think they said was a general and someone else talking about planning the attack.
So we also laid out a full-size model of the ridge for the men to practice on. They know where every German strongpoint is, every machine gun, every bunker.
Is this actual footage from, like, World War I? Forgive me, but I'd actually love to know if this is actual footage from the actual war. It looks real to me. Anyway, they're planning the attack. They made a replica of Vimy Ridge for Canadian soldiers to practice on? Canadian military doesn't mess around, do they? Holy cow. They made a replica of what they were going to attack to train on that. No wonder, like, Canada won this battle. That's an incredible level of devotion, and I don't know, it's smart when you think about it.
Bolduc, hurry. You do know the French have tried for the last year to take Vimy Ridge, yes? And that we also...
I know, sir.
What exactly makes you,
Vimy. Oh, they got cannons. Oh gosh. What is Vimy Ridge? Like, physically, it's a ridge? Like, what makes it so important? That's what I'm kind of wondering about.
Guns will begin at dawn.
My dear wife, this may be my last letter to you. We go into action in 20 minutes. It's the biggest thing I've ever been in.
At precisely 05.
Oh my god. This is equal parts fascinating and terrifying. Were there really soldiers writing letters to their wives back home in Canada 20 minutes before entering combat? Like, wow.
Hundreds of men will move out of the tunnels, keeping precisely 300 yards behind the creeping barrage.
Dear Mother, as I looked to right and left, all I could see was Canadians.
Wow, I mean, I'm actually so glad there is a Heritage Minute about this. Because I do think, especially in American culture, we don't talk about or learn about Canadian, like, military, Canadian warfare. Or, I mean, basically, if I'm gonna be honest, Canadian history in general. I mean, that's the reason I love watching these Heritage Minutes. It's an amazing way to learn about, like, pivotal moments in Canadian history. This one in particular, though, this battle, most significant battle and victory in Canadian history. I'm glad they did a video on this.
5 o'clock, Vimy Ridge was ours.
And Mother,
Wow.
I thought, we are a nation. This is us.
It was the first significant victory of the war.
Is that true as well? That makes it even more significant. Was this the first big victory of World War I? Like, for Canada and its allies? Why haven't I heard of this then? What the heck? Oh my gosh. That's incredible. That's an amazing story. Vimy Ridge. Okay. Very good. Let's keep going. Next we have Chloe Cooley. This Heritage Minute follows Chloe Cooley, an enslaved black woman in Upper Canada in 1793. Man, you know, these are some tough topics. There's touchy subjects, but I do think it is so important that they made Heritage Minutes on these topics. As far as slavery in Canada, this is about Chloe Cooley, who was an enslaved black woman in Canada in 1793. That's another thing, just like Vimy Ridge. I don't know anything about the history of slavery in Canada. I'm being very honest today, at the risk of embarrassing myself. I didn't even know if there were slaves in Canada. If there was slavery in Canada. Like here in the United States, we are thoroughly educated on the dark, long history of slavery, especially for African Americans that were brought to the United States. We're very educated on that, but nothing about Canada. So this is interesting to me. Her acts of resistance in the face of violence led to Canada's first legislation limiting slavery. No kidding. Chloe Cooley, one of hundreds of black women enslaved in the French and British colonies that became Canada. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? This is like technically before Canada was founded as we know it? That's interesting, knowing the time that this was happening. Although this is known about Chloe Cooley, little is known about Chloe Cooley, who was enslaved in Upper Canada, her struggles against her enslaver, Sergeant Adam Vrooman, precipitated the act to limit slavery in Upper Canada. Wow. Like, literally, this individual was huge in the battle against slavery in Canada. Okay. That's all I need to know. Let's take a look at the video, the Heritage Minutes.
I don't care what the law is. I will never be a slave. That word, I hate it. It rests on my tongue like rot.
Peter, how does it feel to get paid for your work?
There are rumors freedom's coming for us all.
Freedom, you know that's all I want.
Chloe, careful. Vrooman would rather sell you across the river to America than let you go free.
Then I'll run.
Oh, God. God. That's disheartening. Hearing America mentioned like that, it's like, hey, you might be free soon in Canada, so we're going to sell you to the Americans. That's kind of disappointing for me to hear America used that way. Like, oh, we'll take the slaves. Like, oh, yikes. But again, I think that it's good to see slavery presented in such a visceral way, honestly.
I've run before. Maybe this time for good.
No!
What?
Get her into the boat! No!
Chloe, no!
What the heck is this? What's going on? What? Why are they kidnapping her? Not only is that horrible, but I'm also confused. If she is a slave that works on this, whatever, plantation or whatever it is, isn't she like their property, or she's being kidnapped, or I don't know.
Word of Chloe Cooley's resistance led to Canada's first legislation limiting slavery. After 200 years, slavery was abolished in Canada in 1834.
I mean, that's great that slavery was abolished in Canada, but as far as this story goes, this isn't really a happy ending for me that I might have been expecting. Maybe that's naive of me to have assumed, but she was just kidnapped and put on a boat and what? Sailed off to America to be sold, or what? And what exactly did she do, like historically, to help facilitate the movement towards freedom for slaves in Canada? They didn't get very specific. They just kind of showed 20 seconds in Chloe Cooley's life. So it's a well done, like, well shot, well done Heritage Minute, but I have to criticize it a little and say, I don't think this Heritage Minute really explained why she was so important. They just said Chloe Cooley was very important in helping abolish slavery in Canada. They didn't tell us why or how. And then she got kidnapped and put on a boat, and then it ended. Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm leaving this one wanting a little bit more. But anyway, let's keep going here. One more Heritage Minute today is La Bolduc. La Bolduc. This must be French-Canadian. Mary Travers, whose songs cheered Les Québécois during the Great Depression, pays for her first recording session. Oh, this is a French-Canadian singer who helped her fellow Québécois during Great Depression, and she's getting a recording session. Is La Bolduc like a famous French-Canadian music artist? Or how long ago was this? They died in 1941. Or known as Mary Rose Ann Travers, singer, songwriter, harmonica player, fiddler. Oh man, back in the day when people had some musical talent. You don't just crack open your laptop and put some beats together. You're a harmonica player. Back in the 1940s. That's cool. She was Canada's first chansonnière. She sang about problems and difficulties of ordinary life. She had an influence on the evolution of the chanson in Quebec. I don't know what a chanson is. Maybe that's like singer in French, or... Anyway, they said this is her going to a recording studio? Okay, let's take a look. Montreal.
Mr. Boudry, my name is Mary Travers, but he called me La Bolduc. My daughter Denise. I came to record a song.
But you're not well known, Mrs. Bolduc. You've never recorded before.
Oh, well, gotta begin somewhere, huh?
I was just about to say, how can he ever record? If the prerequisite is you have to have recorded, how can you ever record? It's like when you apply to a job and they're like, you don't have any job experience here. It's like, that's why I need the job. How do I get the job if I don't have the job experience first? It's impossible. Anyway, they say she's not really well known. But it sounded like she was somewhat well known to the Quebecois people for singing songs. Anyway, maybe she was just kind of known, up and coming in Montreal, and now she's trying to get some recording time and make it big.
I suppose your accompanist is not a professional player.
Oh, Denise can play.
Sorry to say, we have no masters left now, Charles.
Oh, I always keep a dozen in stock, boss.
You're aware that recording costs a lot.
I was about to say, why are they giving her such a hard time right now? What? If she can pay for the recording time, like, isn't that how a recording studio operates? Don't they want to sell their services to people? Why is he giving her such a hard time if she can pay for it?
Here's $20.
There you go.
That's a working man's salary for a month there, Mr. Baudry.
Well, what do you say we begin right now?
Let's go.
Just had to pull out the $20 and everything was good.
Mes amis, je vous assure que le travail est dur. Il faut pas se décourager. Ça va bien vite commencer. De l'ouvrage, il va en avoir pour tout le monde.
Mary Travers had a hit right in the middle of the Depression. She went on to sing for princes and presidents, but to her fans, she would always be La Bolduc.
That's really cool. That's a really cool heritage minute because it like shows someone like just making their way organically in Montreal, I think it was. Not very well known. Goes out on a limb, spends a month's salary recording her song, and it becomes a hit. And bam, she's successful and famous. That's really cool. I have never heard of her before. I'm assuming she is somewhat well known to French Canadians. This during the Great Depression as well. So she was probably pretty important in helping lift Canadians' spirits a bit during that really tough time. So it was even more important in a way, what she was doing. But yeah, that was cool. I think with that, that's it for today. That is some good heritage minutes. A good diversity of them too. And some really important topics today. I'm really impressed. Vimy Ridge, like a Canadian military battle. Talking about slavery in Canada and its history and abolition and some French-Canadian history, musical history. Very good. I'm very pleased. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these Canadian Heritage Minutes today. That'd be very interesting to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture, stuff about Canada I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.